I haven't really spoken much about the rig that we're putting on the boat in a couple of days. It's around 16 meters high from mast base datum, which is basically the bottom of the deck where it climbs out of the deck. It's not actually a keel step boat, obviously. We have a deck stepped rig, and it's obviously got to sit on that mount that I put up the front. Now, the main thing is getting a few clutches in place so that we can rig the boat. So I'm up here. I've actually got a bank of 8 clutches here. I've got 3 over here and 3 here, and then what I'm actually doing is positioning another 2 smack bang in the middle here. And I've done quite a bit of work making sure that the lines all run down here to the 2 main winches, and then I'm going to have another winch over here which will deal with our Main Street Traveller. Beautiful thing about this, and we've worked this out hopefully to the T, we're going to have everything here in one place, including our jib furler, which is going to run down our port side, along here, up here, and to this winch here. So I do have a lot to consider here, but what I'm actually doing here is just drilling holes, getting the holes mounted. Janet's in town getting me more fasteners. We need M8 fasteners here, big thick fasteners. There's 6 on each of the triple clutches and 4 on the double clutches, and we also have over 1 inch of solid glass that this is actually mounted to. I might be able to take you back here to when I actually reinforce this. This is actually around about 1 inch thick of solid glass, and there is also some reinforcement in there of G10. This area here, however, this is my main goal, is to reinforce this, and as while I'm here I'll do these little bits of extra fairing, but I need to put in at least 5 more layers of solid glass on top of this, get rid of these screws, absolutely chock-a-block with thickness here. I really want to have a solid core here, and then I can deal with the top sides, but for now I'll get this part done, make sure it's as strong as hell to handle a load of these winches. I've done a fair amount of work on this, and this is all then tabbed underneath, and it's an all a box section. I've got a box here and the whole thing is tabbed in, so there is a lot of pressure going this way, and this could easily just rip this out, particularly once we get the winches loaded. So I've sort of thought this through. You're never got more than 1 or 2 lines loaded at a time. You know, you could be doing your reefing and your main halyards obviously clutched off, but you know, you've really got to consider how much pressure is going to be on here. We did some calculations on our double stack there the other day, and we were, you know, well within the reasonable limits of what that is capable of doing over there, and we're going to mount that this afternoon. In one day I'm moving the boat, and we're getting the rig on day after tomorrow. So that was Janet, and I've got to go and pick her up. She's actually up the wharf, which is about 1.5 k's away, so it's pretty convenient here. We live about 0.5 k from the wharf, and then we are about 1.5 k away from the wharf where the boat is, and that's where we have to take it tomorrow. So I'll go up and grab her. She's got all my fasteners, so we can get all these clutches and these deck organisers in, and then we should be able to winch our rigger up the mast once we get it installed. So that's pretty bloody exciting for us. We have to have life jackets here at all times. We're not allowed on our ribs without PFDs on. Pretty much, if you're on your own, you have to have it on. If there's a couple of you in the boat, you don't, but I always wear it anyway because it's not worth getting the waterways inspector over to have a go at us. It's just simply not worth it. So, yeah. I'm loving my new life, guys. It's very economical living on a boat. I'm actually living on it, but it's pretty economical. I'm not spending any money outside because, quite frankly, after this bastard, I can't afford it. I've got to get it rigged, I've got to get the rigging done, and I've got to get everything done pretty much over the next couple of months so that Janet and I can consider moving on board towards September. We're into March, or the end of March now, so the year's just flying. And I just can't get over how much more work there was after launch. Happy now, ain't you, Jack? Mounting our clutches case I can't see. And I don't just reach.
Is that a nut that came off?
No. That was my knuckle. Another nut.
No, your knuckles are not made of metal.
Mine are. Oh, these jammers up here have been a little bit of a pain in the backside because it's really hard to reach it up inside. Got this one mounted, this one's permanent. You can see down in here we've got hex-headed bolts holding them in place, and they're bolted in nice and tight, but yeah, it's getting a bit difficult to reach up underneath it. So these jammer bolts are right up inside there, and I've just got no option but to use a ratchet wrench. And even then it's not that easy. It's I've got nowhere to stand either because I'm on the edge of the step, so it's a 3-foot drop from here, which I'm tall. Righto, so I've come down to the boat. We're going to move it in about 3 hours up to the wharf, which is up the river here. We're waiting on the tide to come in because it's a little bit shallow. We'd probably be okay, but if we had another foot of draft, probably not. We're moving it up onto the wharf tomorrow morning at about 9 AM. We're going to start rigging the boat. I'm actually not going to be doing it. We've employed a professional rigger, and he has had our rig built for some 3 or 4 months, and I actually saw it a couple of months ago, so it's taken that long to get this all organised with our engine problem and some delays on his behalf as well. We was on holiday, so we couldn't quite mesh a time, and we've meshed a time, and he was worried about the weather tomorrow. It's looking pretty good. Stunning day today, perfect autumn day, light east-northeasterly winds, and we've got a high tide at 7 o'clock tonight, and I'm going to go and pick Darren up. He's going to help us take the boat up to the wharf, but I have to do something very important first. Now tomorrow we're going to have a lot of wiring coming down the mast, and I haven't got any way of getting that wiring into the boat yet. There's 2 tubes, conduits coming out of the bottom of our mast. Now our mast sits on top of a pin on an axle. It's a typical Seawind 1160 mast rig that we're putting on this boat, which is around the same size, but probably a little bit bigger. Probably our sail is going to be about the size of the 1260. And what we've done is I've made a snorkel. This is a 50.6 millimeter tube, 2-inch tube, and I've welded a flange onto it, and it's going to enter the boat right here, and that's going to allow me to put those 2 tubes, which will essentially be in bilge hose, snorkel them and snake them up into there to stop any water coming in. So it's a pretty practical solution. I was going to buy one, but honestly that cost me about 50 bucks to make that, and I was able to buy this piece of stainless from a handrail manufacturer, already polished and everything, and all I did was weld the flange base onto it. But you do need to have the breakthrough so that you can carry those wires all the way in and have absolutely no chance of any water getting into the boat. So that's going to go right here, right beside our mast base. So that hole there will have essentially, the snorkel will sit either up here and down, and then all the hoses will come up and in, and that fortunately breaks in behind the center bulkhead, which is actually here, that runs right underneath this mast pillar. And essentially we've got the bulkhead here, and all the wiring goes straight down behind the dinette module, straight into our battery compartment, and essentially straight into our electrical compartment, which is right there. Playing house again. Janet comes down to the boat and just plays house, and I love it. What? You love it? You love playing house on your boat? Better than fiberglass.
Sounds like a toddler.
All right, we're going to go down and check where that drill has breached our bulkhead, and hopefully that's given me at least 30 millimeters on either side up in here. But that's looking spot on. So that tube will come down to around about here, and all the wires will go straight down the other side of that bulkhead. So that's absolutely perfect. I could not have planned that better, and it's given me a really good opportunity to get all the wiring straight into where it needs to be. We have radar, steaming light, anchor light, wind instruments, a camera, what else have we got there? TV aerial, and VHF and AIS aerial up there as well. Well, that's actually one. So we've got a lot of electrics coming down this mast, and I need to basically deal with them tomorrow to get them at least in there waterproof so that I can start to wire everything up and make this boat complete. Although we're nowhere near complete, we're still got to do all of the deck rigging for the lines. I have actually yesterday we completed our double stacker up here, which goes over, and the clutches are now in, so we're pretty much there. We'll be able to at least hoist somebody up the mast with our electric winch, and then I can start to work on our jib traveller system. I've got to do a bit of work here to clean this up to make sure that this area here is okay for a car to run. I've got to sand this edge down because that car is about that wide and it needs to be able to run freely across here. And I've got to put the Main Street Traveller in. Now originally I was going to do an A-frame bridle type, I guess you'd call it a German sheeting on the main. However, we've decided to go with a track and a Traveller. I just think you get a much better purchase, you get much better shape with the Traveller on this particular boat, because we have a high cockpit roof, and essentially our Traveller is not down low, so we don't get a lot of mechanical advantage. However, our mast boom is actually above the top of our helm station roof, so it's about 20 centimeters above that, which should allow for plenty of room, and as it goes over it actually comes upwards, so you end up with an arc like this, and that way we'll be able to see the shape and hopefully clear that roof. The actual boom is 1.7 meters from the base of this mast, so it's around about my chest height, up at chest height, which is going to increase the center of effort of this boat, but you know, we're just got to deal with that because I wanted that raised helm. That was so important to me on this boat, just for visibility and for comfort. The raised helm was everything. And of course, wherever we drill a hole, we cool. So I've poured out the foam here because this is one of those places, water washing down off the windows. You do not want any water getting into this area here. This is one of the probably the most structural areas of the whole boat, and if you core any hole you drill here, you're going to save yourself a hell of a lot of grief, as I've done on the entire boat. Everywhere has been cored correctly, and hopefully it'll save ourselves a lot of grief in the long run. Now, I'd actually thought about this position about 4.5 to 5 years ago, where I was going to bring these wires in, because there's so many electrics up a mast, and it's not always easy to get the right approach for these wires, so I sort of intentionally left a void in this area for this very reason, and it's paying off today, because it's going to be a 10-minute install rather than 4 hours of drilling holes and trying to find a way into the electrical compartment. So we have a procedure here where we have to book with the local council to pull up at the wharf for more than half an hour, because it's a temporary public wharf. So we've booked it for a 24-hour period from essentially tonight till tomorrow night, so that we can get our rigging done, but we do share it with a couple of other commercial operators. There's a guy who does mussel farming here, and he's got a big jet-powered aluminium boat, and obviously he needs that big concrete crane capable wharf to obviously unload his catch. So we've cleared it with him. I've reminded him a couple of times, reminded Hika at the Jervis Bay Mussel business that we're going to be there tomorrow morning from about 8:30, 9 o'clock. As soon as they leave in the morning, I'm going to pull the boat up onto that wharf, and then the rigger will be here about 9:15. Hopefully the guy with our high ab will come down and we'll be able to hook up the mast, get it off onto a trestle. He'll go away, come back when we're ready, hoist us into position, pull the mast down again once we get all our lengths correct. Then we'll cut, hydraulically siege all of our turnbuckles and the like, and then do the final fitment. So there's a lot going to happen tomorrow. Pretty excited, pretty stressed. Got about 2 hours before we've got to pick Darren up, so we've got to start preparing the boat to move it. And once we're up at the wharf, we're going to do a couple of things like clean out our water tanks. We're going to flush some water into the tanks and clean out any debris. We haven't actually been through that process yet, and I'm almost finished the plumbing, so within the next week or so I'm going to get that plumbing operational, which is just going to be spectacular to get that done. But yeah, for now, working on our snorkel here, and that'll at least be that job done. That I'd like to unscrew these. I haven't got time to core the holes. I probably should have done it when I had the epoxy, but core the holes. I'm going to put a bolt. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's only going to handle wiring, but I do want to mount it properly with some nuts and bolts, just in case it ever cops a knock from, you know, something serious. Who knows? But anyway, I'm hoping I've done the right thing. Soon know tomorrow. I can always turn it around if I have to. We're going to start untying our lines and getting ready to move a bit later on. There's a little bit of wind around, so we're going to wait till that drops. It should drop in about an hour or so, and hopefully have a swim before we go and do all the big move. Pretty excited. There's the stress is building up again. Having a boat rigged, especially something I've built, is a bit of a concern for me, because I just want to make sure the boat can handle it. I'm sure it can. I mean, it's pretty bloody tough, but you know, who knows? You just don't know once you start exerting extra forces on it. Hopefully by the time the rigger's done, he'll say, yep, good job, we're ready to go. The day has finally come for us to move the boat to get it rigged.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Bit nervous.
Bit nervous?
Yeah.
Well, it's happening in the morning.
Yeah.
But we've got to move the boat.
Yeah, yeah. And the wind's up a bit, but that's okay. We'll be alright.
Yep, I think we'll be fine. So I'm just going to head over and get Darren, our mate. He's going to help us put the boat up on the wharf, because this is only the second time we've driven it. Well, the third time, but bring him over here, and he's just going to help us handle the lines as we come up towards the dock. And I'm going to spend the night on the boat tonight. Pretty excited to spend the night on the boat. It's only the third night I've spent on the boat in the 5 months we've been here, or almost 5 months, isn't it? 4 months we've been here, and essentially 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to get up, basically get everything ready, and we're ready to do the rigging. Right, team's here. Well, we've got a pretty windy afternoon. We've got current running this way at about 3 or 4 knots, so we've got two opposing forces there. The tide is pretty much the constant, but the wind is gusting at around 10 to 15 knots, so I'm not really sure how this boat handles in the wind, and that's a bit of a concern. Darren has just given us a bit of a briefing, because he's very experienced at manoeuvring his boat around in this area here. We've got a lot of room to turn around, but we certainly want to make sure that we get around and get on our way up the river as quickly as possible. So first things first, we'll get the engines running. So we'll power up the starboard side first. Check our water. Cool. Thanks for your help, mate, again. Hang on, I just want to get a bit, I want to get square. I'll just let it come around. Actually, having a boat flying up the freaking centre of the channel. That was pretty tricky. I didn't film it from the start. From the northeast. We're out of the wind a bit now. The wharf up there, so I've got far to go, but that was tricky. But at least up here we're going to be a little bit out of the wind. Well done, guys. Got us here. I actually didn't mind that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
About an 8 out of 10 in terms of
Difficulty?
Yeah, we haven't seen that much more difficult in the creek here with my boat.
I'm feeling
That's
good.
what I'm feeling, yeah. Last time was about 3 out of 10, I reckon.
Wow.
The first time, 3 out of 10's very comfortable. 8 out of 10's a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool.
I reckon having 57 horses jumping around underneath helps. But we've got to give it a little bit more in reverse with these Brunton props. I give it just a little extra notch to get it moving. But yeah, no, pretty impressive. I'm very happy about that. Oh, it's been a while since I've been on this dock. Cool. I know where we'd be without this guy. Without these guys. Either of them. You guys are just legends.
When we came in.
That was so nice to see Liz. I thought she was fishing. I was about to tell her off. But she wasn't fishing. Anyone goes fishing here tonight, they're in trouble. I'll be cooking me dinner. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. Thanks, champion. Nice thing about being dockside is we've got power. So I've actually got 240 volts, and this vacuum I'm not going to leave on the boat, but I do need to clean out my water tanks. We've still got a fair bit of remnant sand and dust in them, and I need to vacuum them out. So this down in here, you can see there's a bit of spooge down there. I'm going to clean it out, and then I'll give them the hose out, and then I'm going to empty them out again. Right. Well, we never thought the day'd come that we get the mast put on, and today's the day. He's on his way down from Sydney, Rolly, and we're going to pull up just over here on our foreshore here. We have a large concrete dock that's designed for craning and for doing major works on boats, and exactly what we're going to be doing. In fact, we're going to get a truck down with a big high ab on it, and that's going to be able to pick up the mast, lift the mast off the trailer onto some trestles so they can get some preparatory work done. The mast is basically complete and ready to go. All they need to do then is get it all set, lift it onto the boat, do some measurements, and then lift it off again and do the final cutting and obviously the hydraulic swaging of the turnbuckle of all the swages. So big day ahead. I'm pretty excited. I had a night on the boat, didn't sleep real well, I've got to be honest. There's a lot of noise going on here this morning, and a lot of guys going out fishing at 4 in the morning. It's a nice sort of mussel barge getting ready to go out today, and yeah, the creek's looking beautiful. There's the boys loading up this morning, and these guys have just had another farm approved out on our beaches out on Jervis Bay out here. So yeah, pretty amazing to see an industry starting to spawn. I'm ready for coffee, the obligatory YouTube coffee, and get the day started. It's about 6:30. The problem with this time of year is our daylight saving ends next week. They've left it drag on, and now it's 7 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark. So we're all sort of in that period where we just want daylight saving to end now, so it'll be a bit lighter early in the morning. But anyway, we'll get my coffee on the way and we'll get going. Yeah, already, isn't it? I'll get on the front one. Because I'm like a good counterweight.
We tie this middle one.
Yep.
On that one there.
Yes, yep.
And then we throw this rope to the other dock.
Okay, alright, cool.
So that there's always, the front one is always tied off somewhere.
Yep. Alright, so we've still got a little bit of tide running here, and we need to... Oh, look at this big brim down here. He could have had him last night. Wow, he's huge. Don't tell anybody. So we're going to get her up onto this wharf here. And Darren's given me some extra fenders. I've got a big fender here. And worst case is I'll jump in and be an offender. Oh, I'm very easy to offend. Alright, so I've got a big barge board here. I've got another board here if we need it, but I don't think we will. What a day, eh? Cracker. Good day for rigging.
Roscoe, you'll undo.
Yep.
Undo first. Then you push off and push forward. It really doesn't matter if it goes into the middle of the river. So
Hop off it.
Everyone's ropes off now.
Yep.
Roscoe and Janet, do you want to push forward? Push forward. Push out, basically. Push forward and push out. Now, Roscoe, your job is really just to... No, don't you let go of that, Roscoe.
Let go of this one, keep
Yep.
this one.
Roscoe, you're just helping guide that and keeping a little momentum
I'm
forward.
just going to chuck that up there.
And Janet, as soon as you can, come around here if you would. Roscoe?
Yep.
You're just helping
Yep.
guide that.
Yep. Probably want the bow right on the end of that wharf, Darren.
Yeah. So your job will be just, if it comes too close, you'll just grab it and push the boat away.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to start swinging it
Yeah,
slightly.
it's going in. So it's still perfect tide for it. I'd hate to be doing it in a high tide.
Okay, so you'll just look after that bit.
It's the easiest thing we've done since we started.
Yeah, the mast there.
Yeah, I think it's perfect, to be honest. Well, he'll have the high ab here. He'll just be able to park his truck there and lift it on.
We need to drop this wood.
Drop the wood.
Oh, the tide's going to go out. Don't you think? Oh, maybe drop it a bit, yeah.
Oh, true. You've got
Yeah, I'd drop it.
Probably these fenders are going to go between the wood, aren't they?
Well, that won't matter. How lucky are we to have this facility here? I mean, it's brilliant. I was able to launch the boat here, build it a kilometre away, bring it down, launch it over there at the boat ramp over here, and then to have this hard stand here. It was actually designed to be able to crane boats in and out, but there's no facility to do that here. It's basically the only real spot in the whole south coast here, in this whole 100-kilometre region where we can do the work like this. But we're ready. And the fish are loving it. At around 9 AM the boys arrived from Sydney. They'd spent 2.5 hours on the road. At 5:30 AM they left and came across the Sydney Harbour Bridge and down to Jervis Bay, which is about 2 hours south of the Harbour Bridge. They immediately started to rig the mast with the spreader bars and started tensioning the rig. And obviously there are messenger lines there for all the halyards. All the lines are already running through the boat, including the electrics. We then moved on to the boat just to see how the furler was going to attach onto the main chain plate on the front. He had a bit of an assessment of our chain plates, ticked them off as all good. However, our main chain plate on the front, we'd increased the height of it by 50 millimetres, and that actually started to interfere with our seagull striker. So I set about doing some measurements, and then Darren and I worked out a way that we could remove the seagull striker and make some modifications to that seagull striker so that we could then put it back in place and tension it down before we stepped the rig. This was required because the furler cage actually was touching the actual seagull striker. I hadn't allowed enough angle forward, and by adjusting the shape of it, I was able to then make sure that when we're running downwind that the furler wouldn't interfere with that seagull striker. While I was up in the factory modifying this, it took me about half an hour or so. I got a phone call from our rigger and he notified me that he would be unable to step the mast on that day as we were missing a couple of components. So he headed off and took the mast all the way back to Sydney again. It was a bit of a combination of events, nothing to do with us. It was just one of those things that happens occasionally when you're doing such a complex task so far away from the factory. So we booked it again for the following week, and we basically sat there dumbfounded and a little bit lost for a few hours, and then we just made the decision to put the boat back on the mooring. So no one's fault, stuff happens like that, and we just move forward and go on. So that was interesting. Spent the day yesterday getting the boat up here, getting it ready to be rigged. Rigging's not going on. What do you say? Fuck. That's all you can say. And we're going to go put the boat back on the mooring and have another week without a rig. So luckily that's okay. You know, no one got hurt, nothing happened, nothing damaged, but certainly no gain today. And Rolly is going to waste 12 hours driving to sort out this problem, which is good of him, I guess.